Welcome back, everyone, and this time I'm going to be looking at the December 19th patch. I know, I'm a few seconds late. Yes, seconds. Hold on, it's not recording my... Huh. Weird. It's not recording the mouse cursor. Anyway, I know I'm a few days late, but hey, it doesn't matter. So I'm just gonna be quickly going over it. Now, I know some of the changes already, but most of this is actually kind of blind for me. I have actually played a game on the patch, which I will show off. I believe today I will upload it. Depends on when I want to cast it. So yeah, December balance patch, pretty good. Let's quickly go over the main balance goals. It's to change around some commanders, buff allies late game, adjusting to meta-dominating units, and, you know, just generally cancerous strategies to improve diversity, and reduced redundancy. This is also toned down squad wiping effectiveness of some overperforming off-map abilities. Yeah, we'll see that soon. All of this, I believe, are pretty good goals. Most of them were actually reached. So I really love what they did with this patch, actually. So I'm pretty much a fan. Now, yeah, revitalizing some commanders, adjusting meta-dominating units. Okay, the Elephant, the Jagdtiger, the Panther. Adjusting some veterancy. That's fine. Let's get actually going with the actual changes. They've changed around a lot of grenades. They've fixed some stuff with the Model 24 stun grenade. That's fine. Fixed around target weak point, now lasts for 10 seconds until the unit fires its first shot or ability. So that is, of course, also just improving the usability of some abilities. That's all fine. Actually, it's easier to snipe trenches. That's okay. 4 retreat points. Yes, this is also another thing that they changed. So, of course, the UK requires the company command post, so the tier 3, to upgrade the forward retreat point on the forward assembly. It also affects the Vanguard logistics glider, so that's both for normal stuff and for the doctrinal. It's a pretty good switch because overall you don't want the retreat points to be as available as they normally were. The OKW one requires either the mechanized or the Sure Panzer. The OKW ladder group also now is unable to reinforce if cut off from friendly territory. I believe all of them now are unable to reinforce if cut off from friendly territory. It would not make sense for others to be able to, and the OKW one to not be able to, but who knows. Reinforcement time increased by 75% while the FRP ability is active. Huh. Okay, so it actually takes longer for units to reinforce. That's pretty okay. Sandbags. All sandbags are standardized. That's fine. Repair speeds reduced for Royal Engineers and Rear Echelons. Reduced the bonus for the Heavy Sapper upgrade. Sturm Pioneers also had their repair speed reduced. So just in general, Western Front's army is getting nerfed and being brought to line with the Eastern Front armies, which is very good because the repair speeds in general should be higher, in my opinion. If you're thinking about it, the repair speed represents essentially the way you can punish people for misplays with their vehicles without the vehicles being destroyed. So it's like for a semi-misplay. It's like they've misplayed enough to get their vehicle shot up. They haven't misplayed enough to get it destroyed. It should be some kind of punishment. And of course, having the repair be as fast as it is right now for some units, named the Sturm Pioneers, well, especially considering also that the fact that a lot of these armies also have repair structures that you can build and get some automatrons, you could say that it's a little bit too high. So I like that they nerfed it. Squad AI behavior. That does not really matter too much. Yeah, whatever. Complicated stuff. I will not pretend to understand it. Fuel and munitions caches got actually nerfed. Lack of delay entering and leaving garrisons with indirect firing grenades difficult to perform their anti-garrison role, as squads can quickly jump in and out of buildings to dodge these attacks. Well, there is a delay in leaving garrison. Okay, unload time increased for dots 375 per model, so it takes longer to get out. It takes longer to get in. Maximum loading time increased to 2 for the entire squad. Okay, grenade damage adjusted against ambient structures. I hope that they haven't overbuffed it. Sometimes they do overbuff things against buildings, and it's kind of funny. For example, the Centaur used to be ridiculously overpowered against buildings. Like, it would just wipe out squads instantly. Activating smoke barrages will now order only 1 unit at a time. Okay. So that's pretty good because it allows you to micro several mortars to place smoke over a larger area. And that's pretty okay. I mean, you could already do that by tabbing in and out of different mortars, but whatever. Demo charges have been nerfed, of course. They don't instantly... Wait, no, hold on. Okay, cost reduced, can no longer be planted near capture points, and they are now detectable by all units. Oh, okay. Okay, so I thought it was still the... I thought it was still the change where it had a timer to detonate. Oh, so now it gets detected by all units. So it's focused on just demolishing things rather than anti-personnel devices. Okay, so it's basically, they're putting it into a little bit of a closer position to the Co-1 demo charge. Okay. Hold fire, basically now every unit has changed the hotkey for hold fire. Applies to all units, that's fine. Okay, so let's get to faction-specific stuff. I mean, the demo charge one was already specific to the Soviets, but who gives? The changes to the Soviets are meant to encourage more diverse strategies by allowing both conscripts and weapons support Campania to operate effectively, of course, as opposed to penal spam. Rifle Command and penal battalions have been received a slight duration in power to lower the reliance on mono strategies. Is that what they're calling them now? Huh. So conscripts are being adjusted to deal more reliable damage. Phew. Finally, Relic. Jesus. So more accuracy, less damage, so it's less random base, but they still don't really do all that much damage. Looks like the accuracy got increased by about 30% across the board, whereas the damage got slashed by a quarter. So that's still not as much, but max weapon slots from 2 to 1. So you cannot pick up 2 MG42s off the ground anymore. That's not a change I like. I mean, you might as well have 2 weapon slots. Like, it makes the enemy less likely. Oh wait, I wonder if this is because they're afraid of people spamming special weapons and giving a lot of Vickers K to conscripts. I don't know. Still, you should be able to punish enemies for letting their weapon upgraded squads die. I don't know. I feel like that should be the case. Tripwire flares have a 30-second cooldown. Okay, weird. Ura is more expensive, which is weird. The Molotov costs more, but the Molotov has a faster throwing speed than Veteran C2, and I believe the Molotov upgrade has been reduced in cost. So Molotov now much better than what it used to be. Plus 10% accuracy at Veteran C3, which is good, and improved the received accuracy modifier at Veteran C3. And Veteran C1 now grants more received accuracy reductions. So what is great about all of this is that the veterancy has been buffed for the conscripts pretty greatly, which is what I always was proposing that they should do with the conscripts. They shouldn't really buff the unit themselves as they should be buffing the veteran units, because, of course, the veterancy is something that you're having to work towards, whereas just buffing the unit itself might make it overpowered. Penal battalions are losing their sticky satchels, thank God, on squads not upgraded with the PRS package. So, of course, now you're going to have to specialize and trade off between anti-infantry and anti-tank, which is what I like. I like that pretty much. And, of course, they have switched around some power to the veterancy, which is okay. Veterancy now is a little bit harder to come by. Moving cooldown increased. I believe that's the rate of fire when moving, which is okay. Reinforced cost from 25 to 27. I mean, they were already nerfing it. I don't think there was really any reason to increase the reinforcement cost, but it's fine. Maxim got a bit of a buff to its suppression. and some of its modifiers have been buffed slightly, so it's faster at aiming, which is always pretty good. However, you need to be careful with the Maxim, because the Maxim is one of those units that can be very, very cancerous if it gets a little bit too strong. Especially because, well, it can set up pretty quickly for a machine gun, so you need to be careful about how much you buff it. Machine gun suppression intel bulletin, whatever. Zephyr field gun actually got buffed in terms of its barrage, because, I mean, that's almost a half reduction in cost, and that's not a half reduction in shells. So this is definitely a buff, and as it says, this will emphasize the secondary ability is an indirect fire unit that can soften up enemy positions. I feel like it's an okay buff, but the much better one would be the reduction in the population cost, because it's not the best anti-tank gun, but it's useful. You want to have a lot of it, rather a lot of them, and so having, you know, the ability to field more units because of the less pop gap is definitely quite okay. It's one of those units that are really, really indispensable for the Soviets late game, and now even more so. The mortars now have the flare ability at Vet 0, which is, I'm not sure. I mean, it makes the Veteran C1 quite worthless at reducing flare recharge. Yeah, as they say, it gives the Soviet mortar a more utility-oriented role, but it was already like that. You just had to get to Vet 1 first. I don't know. T-34-76 price increase. Now, I am not a fan of that. I'm thinking, like, my line of thought is that the T-34-85 is too expensive, whereas the T-34-76 was in a good enough spot. Maybe they should have nerfed its machine guns, or its anti-infantry main gun damage, but they shouldn't have nerfed its price. Because think about it, the Soviets, they're supposed to have a more versatile and cheap medium tech at their disposal in the form of the T-34. But if you're going to be increasing its fuel cost, it's just like, ugh. So what I really think that they should have done is slightly decrease the price of the T-34-85, because I think what they did is they looked at the T-34-76 and they looked at some other medium tanks around, especially the T-34-85, and said, oh look, the T-34-76 overperforms. And it's not really that. I mean, the Panzer IV might be a little bit overpriced for the OKW. The T-34-85 might be a little bit overpriced for the Soviets. The Sherman might be a little bit overpriced for the Americans. That does not mean that the Cromwell, the Panzer IV for the Wehrmacht, and the T-34-76 are necessarily overpowered. I don't know, this is kind of my thought on it. Wehrmacht, well. Wehrmacht, I absolutely have no idea what they changed, so let's see. Due to the current survivability and necessity of the Super Armored Corps, this is sort of tier 3, we're improving the accessibility for players to tech to the Heavy Panzer Corps after building tier 3, as well as increasing the viability of multiple tier 3 and tier 4 buildings and vehicles. So, tech cost restructuring. Battle Phase 2 is now more expensive. Battle Phase 3 is now less expensive, so that's... Battle Phase 2 is the one that you need to build tier 3. Battle Phase 3 is the one you need to build tier 4. And the buildings are now cheaper. So overall, a little bit of a teching rebalance for the Wehrmacht. Well, that overall, the Battle Phase 2 plus Support Armor Corps, let's see about the cost. Well, it used to be 105 fuel and 340 manpower, and now it's 340 manpower and 105 fuel. It's just that the building part is less expensive. Huh. Well, this seems like it would be a buff to just straight going for the Heavy Panzer Corps, and then maybe back-ticking to the Support Armor Corps, or as it says, just building both of them, because less of the cost is shifted onto the building itself. So at the point when you've upgraded it, you might as well do it. Also, most of the fuel cost is actually concentrated in the Battle Phase 2. So this is going to be kind of the gateway into the late game. Once you've reached that, then if you have some extra resources, you might as well just build the other buildings and upgrade the Battle Phase 3. Grenadiers got buffed. Why? They're good. I don't know. Weird. AoE for flame half-tracks getting reduced at long range. That's good. That's good because the flame half-tracks are very, very strong. And as it says, entrenched infantry and de-garrisoning mostly is what that change is meant for. Pack 40. Okay, so target weak point has been changed to minus 75% speed rotation and disables weapons for 5 seconds instead of outright stunning. Okay, that is good. That is very, very good. And also the population got decreased. That's normal. That is very, very good because that target weak point was very, very strong. So, I mean, this kind of cuts down on the absurd power of the Pack 40. But it's still a very good ability, and it's still a very good anti-tank gun. So, it does not really destroy the pack as much as it decreases some of its most overpowered, I'm gonna go ahead and say overpowered characteristics. Bundle grenades. To do the changes of Gallon bombs, you're also adjusting the bundle grenade. Okay, less cost, less damage. Similar AoE, just a little bit lower at medium distance. Damage far increased. So I guess that would be, well, because the bundle grenade was very, very random. It could either like completely wipe a squad or just do nothing. I guess this is just kind of standardizing the damage that it's doing. Plus, perhaps, well, of course, the reduction for the cost. So it's overall just going to be more spammy and a little bit more focused on just kind of having a consistent performance rather than just, sometimes it just wipes you. And most of the times it does nothing. Panzer IV. Panzer IV, ooh, actually, yeah, it did get its fuel cost decreased for the Wehrmacht. For the Wehrmacht? Really now? I thought it was in a pretty good spot. I mean, the penetration increase is fine. Just that the fuel cost, I mean, it was already pretty good. I'm not complaining. I'm gonna have fun using it. Ostwind. And it's not like the Panzer IV, it's like the hardest vehicle to counter. No, you just need AT guns. So it's not, I mean, as much as like the Panzer IV didn't need buffs, the fact that it got slightly buffed isn't really that much of a game breaker because the Panzer IV already has so many counters in play. It's not like if they buffed the King Tiger or the, you know, Panther, that are pretty hard vehicles to counter. Well, the King Tiger is pretty easy to counter, but if they buffed like the Panther, which is very hard to counter, it would just be like, fuck you. But this is okay. Ostwind, projectiles no longer collide with terrain, thank God. However, yeah, looks like this pretty big buff for the Ostwind, but of course they had to reduce the AoE because otherwise it would have just been absurd. And the fuel cost actually got reduced, more keeping it more in tone with the fact that it's a very specialized anti-infantry vehicle. So of course its fuel cost should not be that high. And that's okay. Also, increased penetration at close ranges, not really all that much. Not gonna get used to all that much at all. I guess it's okay against light vehicles. Shuji's target weak point also got changed, and it got changed into a 5-second stun from a 15-second main gun disable. I don't think that is a very good idea. Because, I mean, the Stug's already good, so why change it this way? Like, why make it overpowered again? I have no idea. Wait, it says the ability's potency is being reduced. What do you mean? The 5-second stun is actually a lot stronger than the 15-second main gun disabled because it's keeping the vehicle there, allowing other units to destroy it. Whereas the main gun disabled, it's just like, oh well, my main gun's disabled, I'm just gonna run away. And 15 seconds in a game like KOTOR isn't really all that long, unless you're like in a clutch situation. But if you're not in a clutch situation, it's really not all that long. You're gonna be able to just kind of walk away and wait it off. Panther, nerfed a little bit. And yeah, veterancy 10% armor bonus removed is really the big one here. And the population increase is also pretty big for the Panther because it's already got a pretty high requirement. So jumping that up to 18 is, well, not good for the Panther. Let's just say that. 250 mortar half-tracks, smoke cooldown on separate cooldown from offensive abilities. Thank you very much. That is good. Tiger, yeah, population increased, acceleration increased, speed increased, deceleration increased. So this is just kind of emphasizing the Tiger's sort of jack of all trades, heavy tank kind of role. It's not as fast as the Pershing. It's not as well armored as the KT. It's not as well armored as the S2, and it doesn't have as good a gun as the KT or the S2. But it's definitely fast. It's got some good protection. It's better armored than the Pershing, I believe. It's got some good enough protection, and it's got a very good gun anyway. So, I mean, getting the buffs to the movement speed is fine, and changing it around from that awkward, uneven number to a nice, even population number is also pretty fine, I guess. It's gonna make it easier for you to calculate exactly what kind of pop cap are you gonna have. For the USF, so that was the Wehrmacht. The Wehrmacht, I would say those are all pretty good changes, except the Stug G1 is one I really don't like. USF, we are reworking the M36 Jackson tank destroyer to give it more survivability in order to allow it to face late game threats. And yeah, I have been testifying that in the game I've played, Jacksons are definitely pretty good right now. In exchange for the Jackson changes, the riflemen have now lost access to smoke grenades, which is not good. This change will ensure that players continue fostering a mixed squad army well into the late game, and it also rewards players for using the USF's elite infantry. And oh boy, the elite infantry has been also revamped a little bit in some doctrines, so it's all... I like what they did with the USF. It's more fun to play right now. Rear echelons have been updated to provide a more supportive roles because now they have the smoke grenades. So right now the double rear echelon strategy is a little bit more useful than it used to be. Getting a second rear echelon just to improve the utility is pretty good. I like going for it. And the grenade package, of course, is required from the rifleman, just like the smoke used to be on the rifleman. And it cannot use the smoke grenades when upgraded with flamethrowers, unfortunately, so you can't really do the Rifle Company Light. Rip Rifle Company, go look at my avatar. It can now build the M7 Light anti-tank mines. That's a pretty good little ability. In fact, I'm pretty sure that it's gonna get nerfed. I haven't really tried it out, but I can just kind of see it. You know, it's gonna be annoying to deal with. Repair speed now reduced. Yes, we've already talked about that. And the Veteran C2 repair bonus got reduced as well, in keeping with those repair nerfs for Western Front armies. Riflemen, of course, do not have the M23 smoke, which is a pretty big nerf to the USF as a whole, but because the rear echelons have that, it's pretty okay, because you can use the rear echelons in a kind of supportive role regardless. And the ambulance got reduced. Weird. I have no idea. Rather, reduced in population cap. The smoke barrage range got increased for the mortar. I mean, USF mortar did not need buffs, but I guess it's fine because, again, the riflemen no longer have the smoke, so they have to buff other smokes for the USF in some kind of way. The M250 caliber is now... Oh, well, it was only 5 population. That was not a lot. Still, okay nerf, because, again, 5 population really isn't a lot. On Me does not provide combat bonuses anymore. Huh, weird. Well, I don't really like that change. Oh, because it does not cost ammunitions, they say. I mean, to be completely honest, if you have a machine gun, On Me does not matter. Like, I know it's supposed to be a fire-up that breaks suppression, but the units just get resuppressed instantly, so I have no idea. Pack Howitzer reduced the population. That's good, because the Pack Howitzer really is a little bit inferior to the other light artillery units in the game right now. Major now has the M23 smoke grenades, of course. The Sherman has been changed around a little bit. The projectiles now bypass terrain landscape. Again, this is just like, it's good that they're changing all of this, but at the cost of what? I mean, sometimes terrain in maps can be used like meaningfully, and that, of course, is not really a surprise to anyone. But if you then, you know, if you then remove the ability for terrain to actually affect some units, especially the ones that are most importantly affected by terrain, such as the Ostwind, such as the Sherman, and it's just kind of like, well, why is there even terrain at all? But oh well, I guess it will reduce some kind of frustrating moments where the tank just does not want to shoot through. And in some cases, it's also pretty good because the map is just kind of not visually good at conveying that there's a terrain blocker over there. And yeah, AoE distance. Okay. So close AoE distance reduced, and far damage reduced. Less capable of wiping out squads. That's sad. Sherman's good. It's still pretty good. I mean, I still like the Sherman, but it's kind of sad. Shermans are fun. Jackson is more expensive, however, it's got a damage reduction. However, the reload is now of course faster, which is very, very good. Does not affect HVAP, which is fine. I guess. And the HVAP damage also reduced. However, the penetration has been increased at long range, which is very, very good. This changes exactly what the Jackson needed. Because the Jackson is a unit that, yeah, okay, did a lot of damage. Yeah, okay, it had some decent enough penetration. But it had such a long reload. And because of that, it was just kind of like one of those units that was very vulnerable while not just being in excessive numbers. It was also very much an inflexible unit. You just had to keep it in the back, just kind of pop up, shoot, get out. And then pop up, shoot, get out. Because you just have to reload it. It didn't have a lot of, didn't have a lot of survivability. It still does not have a lot of survivability, but it's much better in this regard now. So overall, I very much like this change to the Jackson. I feel like it makes the USF a lot more viable in the late game. And of course, it's also justified because they increased the cost. They nerfed some areas of the Jackson, especially that variancy-free reload bonus. So now Jacksons are going to be a little bit less of an absolute terror in some ways, but they're going to be a lot more usable in most situations. So this is exactly what these kinds of changes need to try to get out of, because they need to get out of the habit of having units that are just ridiculously powerful on some very specific conditions. OKW Veterancy, of course, got changed a little bit, but oh well, it does not really matter. And Combat Blitz, reduced accuracy modifier, less potent as an escape tool, and more of an offensive ability, because it increases rate of fire by 25%, does not need to be moved. What the fuck, why? That is pretty absurd, actually. It's very, very strong. Wow. Very, very strong, actually. 25% is pretty high. Speed bonus for Panther Command Panther King Tiger from plus 40% to plus 20%. Thank Jesus. Because especially with the King Tiger, it was just ridiculous. You could just race car away, or race car in, and be completely immune to the one weakness of the KT, which would be the mobility. Due to the nature of the Panther headquarters flak cannon, we're limiting its ability. Oh, yeah, right. So now you have to switch on and off the AA mode. That's fine. That's pretty okay. Cube Wagon. Cube Wagon, reduced frontal armor, reduced rear armor, increased health. Thank Jesus. Less of an annoyance, because this is also reducing the role of RNG into how much damage riflemen, etc. do to Cube Wagons, because, I mean, armor, especially when you're talking about light armor versus small arms fire, is 100% RNG. So, by making it more important to have health to survive rather than armor, you're improving the skill requirements for the use of the unit. Stern Pioneers. This buff to Stern Pioneers is weird. It's honestly very weird. Like, okay, build time reduced, reinforced time reduced, population reduced. Then they nerfed the repair, of course. Panzerschreck cost reduced. Panzerschreck upgrade no longer requires trucks to be set up. What the heck are all of these? Now, all of this, the veterancy requirements, that's fine. I mean, the veterancy requirements were very, very high for the Stern Pioneers. I can understand that change. A little bit of a change to veterancy 4 and 5 once again. But what the heck is up with that? Like, why did you buff Sturmpiles? Sturmpiles are already pretty good. They're a noob stomping unit. They're okay. They don't need to be buffed. What? Hello. I have no idea. I do not understand why they buffed Sturm Pioneers. It's not like they're massively overpowered now, but they're very annoying, especially considering that Panzerschreck cost is just like, really now? Really now? Like, why would you no longer require trucks to be set up to have the Panzerschreck upgrade? Do you want to just destroy early game vehicle rushes? I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Volksgrenadier's late game strength is being toned down by modifying their Renzi, and their incendiary grenades got changed around. They now have a timer so that people have more time to react. Panzerfaust got a little bit of a price reduction. And of course, the Veterancy got kind of nerfed. It's all fine. I mean, Volksgrenadiers were pretty good. They're still going to be pretty good. The grenades are still okay. And they no longer require a truck to be deployed, so they're better against like something like Maxim Spam in the extreme early game. That's pretty okay. Raketenwerfer can no longer be suppressed. It's just kind of like, what? Weird. But its Veterancy got decreased, especially the camouflage speed is very good, because those upgraded camouflage Raketenwerfers are annoying as hell. And the range bonus of Veterancy 4 and 5, yeah, that is a very good reduction. So overall, Raketenwerfer is still very good, still fine enough, except some of the more annoying aspects have been reduced. I guess the side range could have been okay, but once again, reinforcing that need of combined arms and having to integrate your AT guns with your other units, so you can have a spotter unit giving the AT gun the maximum range. MG34 heavy machine gun, cost increased, damage increased, population increased, accuracy bonus reduced at Veterancy 5, and reduced accuracy looks like a little bit improved. Okay, fine enough change. I mean, they buffed it at the price of some, manpower increase. The more damage against infantry is, I guess, fine, because the MG34 is, again, supposed to be one of those snipey machine guns rather than the suppressy machine guns. LEIG, what the fuck are you doing? Relic, I've played against this and it was so annoying, because it's got like an incendiary barrage. Wait, what? Hold on. It says smoke barrage. See, that smoke barrage is actually an incendiary barrage. I was getting incendiaried throughout the whole game. Okay, I guess it was not the LEIG. Weird. That was an incendiary barrage and not a smoke barrage. Still, they've nerfed some of the auto fire, which is great. I love that. But for some reason, they have decreased the cost of the LEIG, which is like weird. And they've decreased the penetration to compensate, which is kind of weird. Weird. Auto fire nerfs are very good. I like that, because that kind of light artillery does not need to be very strong at auto firing. In fact, it needs to be exactly the opposite. It needs to be weak at auto firing and strong at barraging, so that it's more useful against static targets, other artillery, etc., rather than it being a massive just orbital strike, predator missile, destroys all the infantry. The flak half-track, yeah, whatever. I mean, they're always doing weird things to it. Luke's, yeah, the build time increase is definitely needed. Because, I mean, it was just too fast. It was just too fast. And, well, the moving scatter being increased, yeah, I also agree, because it was very strong against something like, I don't know, half-tracks, etc. The Stuka. What did the Stuka? 50% damage penalty against team weapons. Only affects the gun itself. Okay, so not against, like, the crew. Okay. 50% damage penalty against ambient buildings. Oh, ambient buildings. Okay, I'm like, why would you lower it against buildings? It didn't read ambient. Yeah, okay, that's fine, because the Stuka used to literally one-shot buildings. And health reduced, bringing it in line with other artillery. Perhaps they should have also reduced the cost. I mean, at this point, the Stuka, I feel like, would be pretty underpowered. But I guess, I mean, it's nerfing some of the more annoying pieces of the Stuka, which is fine. Obersoldaten are now more accessible, which is like, really now? Really now? I mean, Obersoldaten didn't need to be buffed. This is a pretty big buff. The cost reduced also means that the reinforcement cost should be reduced. I'm not sure, it didn't list it, but it's probably going to be that way. Population reduced, build time reduced. MG34 more expensive, but it's just like, yeah, the MG34 is good. Veteran C4 bonuses removed, and they've got changed to, oh, actually, weird. It got changed to suppressive fire, which is temporary suppression, but no cost, which is just like, yeah, it's the same as what it used to be, except what it used to be is it used to be all the time. Now you just need to activate it, which is, I guess, fine. I mean, you need to like work towards it and micro the squad, but it's still very weird that, you know, they buffed Obersoldaten, because that's a big buff, you know, 60 manpower reduction on the cost. Like, think about it, this squad is now cheaper than paratroopers. It's now cheaper than shock troops. It's now as cheap as guards. Seriously? You're saying that guards are equal to Obersoldaten? Yeah, I don't think so, my friend. I don't know. I know that they nerfed the Veteran C4 and 5, so of course they have to change and buff some units that were very reliant on that Veteran C4 and that Veteran C5 to get their full cost effectiveness. But still, that's very weird. And of course, for some reason they have to do this, which I don't understand. Less damage for the LMG when it's picked up by non-elite squads. What constitutes a non-elite squad? I have no idea. Like, for example, is a Guards Rifleman an elite squad? I do not know. Is a Panzer Fusilier an elite squad? Who knows? Is, oh hey, a Panzer Grenadier an elite squad? I have no clue. Still, whatever. Stormtroopers elite? Bah, I don't know. Oh, dude, Stormtroopers are more expensive than Obersoldaten. Actually, Stormtroopers are as expensive as Obersoldaten. Still very strange. Jagdpanzer 4, reveal radius increased, armor and sight bonus reduced at Veteran C2, whereas accuracy bonus is now present. Ambush modifiers, yeah, okay, that Veteran C5 ambush modifier was very ridiculous. It used to just literally one-shot vehicles, especially medium tanks with like the heat shells plus the ambush modifier. It was just like absurd. Panzer IV, yeah, of course, got cost decreased. So I guess I was right in talking about how the Panzer IV for the OKW had needed to have its cost decreased. Scatter decreased. Ooh, damn, some big buffs. Penetration increased. Veteran C2 scatter bonus increased. Vet 4 range bonus removed, and Veteran C5 5 bonus. Sight bonus, sorry, it requires the tank to remain stationary. I mean, this is a big buff to the Panzer IV, which was, in my opinion, already pretty good, but of course it was too expensive for the OKW. So you have to remember with the OKW that you get armored skirts for free, which would normally be the Veteran C2 bonus for the Wehrmacht. So it's normally something that you have to work towards. So the Panzer IV for the OKW is actually superior to the one for the Wehrmacht. And right now it looks like it's 20 fuel more expensive rather than 25. It used to be 25 fuel more expensive because it was 150, and the Wehrmacht one was 125. Now the Wehrmacht one is 120, and the Panzer IV is 140. So it's actually... Yeah, I see. Oh well, that's fine. It's actually a little bit of a bigger buff for the Panzer IV of the OKW than it is for the Panzer IV of the Wehrmacht. And that's, I suppose, good. Again, I don't really think that the Panzer IV for the Wehrmacht needed a buff. Panther, more accessible in 1v1s, but less attractive to field, just spams of Panthers in team games. That is very good. So fuel cost reduced, Moving scatter increased. That is so good. That is so good. Because the Panther's main problem, moving accuracy and moving scatter, those two were some of the most annoying things to deal with the Panther, because it could just move around and still hit you like 100% of the time. And so I love that they nerfed that, because it used to be just a rolling coaster of destruction. Once you had more than one, they could just run at your vehicles, destroy them, run away, still hit you while they were running away. And that's pretty much the biggest nerf you can give to the Panther, because the Panther, it's got its like identity as an anti-tank unit in two things mostly. One is its ability to like just be a sniper, and the other one is just its ability to have amazing survivability. And its amazing survivability itself is divided in its armor and its speed. So if you're kind of reducing the impact, rather increasing the impact that the speed has on the accuracy, then you're forcing the Panther to kind of split off its roles. You're gonna be, you know, more wary of what you're doing with the Panther, because if you're trying to run away from the enemy, you're not gonna be as effective at dealing damage to them. That's very, very good. Because it used to just be way, way too easy to just kind of run around the Panther and destroy everything anyway, without really giving it too much thought and micro as to what you're doing. Because of this, you're going to have to trade off between, maybe sometimes I have to, you know, I want to really make sure that I take out that enemy. So perhaps instead of just continuing to chase him, I stop and I fire to try to make sure that that shot hits. Or maybe sometimes, well, I would perhaps prefer my Panther to escape rather than have, you know, increased damage against the enemies. So I'm running away. That's something that I like, definitely. And the Veterancy 5 Psych bonus requires the tank to be stationary. Veterancy 2 armor bonus removed, just like the Wehrmacht Panther. And Veterancy 4 range bonus removed. I'm not sure about that. I didn't know what that range was, actually, so I do not know how strong it was. King Tiger, to prevent the unit from wiping out full health squads at range and while on the move, the following changes have been made. Yes, thank you very much for Relic, because that unit was annoying to deal with. So the angle scatter reduced, that would be when it's firing, I believe that would be when it's firing at an angle. I'm not 100% sure what angle scatter is, but that's fine. Distance scatter max increased, angle scatter increased, and scatter offset. Huh, interesting. Population increased, and Veterancy 4 sight bonus removed. So, once again, that Veterancy 4 sight bonus being removed. This is actually all going to increase the usefulness of the infrared the infrared half track, the map hack swagon, whatever you want to call it. I love that unit already. Doesn't need to be buffed, but it's fine. That, I mean, it's more important. British. We are tuning down infantry section, or rather, we are tuning infantry sections, sappers, mortar pits, fireflies, and the crocodile down to appropriate levels for their cost. Thank Jesus, because Brits are annoying to play against. At the same time, we're increasing British Army availability to proper smoke and anti-garrison tools through improvements to the Wasp, 25 pounders, and the mortar pit smoke. Reduced the received accuracy cover bonus. Okay, so now they're just gonna be more powerful than other squads at killing infantry while in cover. Okay. So it looks like their cover bonus is gonna be pretty much the same, in line with all the others. Good. Mills Bomb upgrade cost removed. Good. Very, very good. Now it's a more valuable choice, and it no longer requires the platoon command post to upgrade. Good. So now Brits are gonna have more grenades. Fine. There's counterplay to grenades. Like that. Brennan Piat weapon racks no longer require the platoon command post to upgrade. Opens up more strategies. Good. Infantry sections, all variants. We feel that the Tommies come out of the game with too much raw power, but also lack the offensive ability to assault positions. I mean, vet-free Bren Tommies would like to disagree, but yes, I definitely agree that they're maybe a little bit too strong when they come out of the game, especially because you can just kind of spam like 3 or 4 of them right at the start, which is kind of aggravating to fight. So therefore, to make Tommies feel more reliable and improve their consistency on the battlefield, we've made the following changes. So moving accuracy got increased. Weird. Received accuracy cover bonus removed. Cone of fire increased. Oh, they only had one cone of fire. That probably means that, like, they can shoot while on the move at enemies at a more, wide angle. I don't know, weird. Population reduced. Pyrotechnic flares cooldown reduced, which buffs the howitzers. That's okay. Veteran 2 received accuracy. And the Veteran 3 Scope 3 Enfields removed. Weird. So it didn't actually nerf them all that much. In fact, it seems like they mostly buffed them. In some ways. Fine. Still feel like a little bit of a... I mean, the received accuracy cover bonus being removed is good, but I feel like what really makes them strong is just their amazing DPS right off the bat. It's not really like their late game potentials. And it's not really their pyrotechnics flares. I don't know, weird. Royal Engineers. We felt that the Saptors tend to scale too well for their cost due to the low received accuracy and reinforcement cost. I agree. And it looks like they have mostly made them easier to kill. Yeah, made them easier to kill, and the veterancy free reinforcement cost bonus has been reduced. So overall, they're going to be a bit bigger drain on your manpower pool. The Universal Carrier repairability now repairs slower when in combat. That's very, very good, because that's annoying to OF if in combat it is used. The Wasp upgrade has been reduced in cost. Now gains shared experience. Huh. Weird. That's very weird, honestly. I'm not sure what it would be useful for, but I guess it's fine. And bonus hit points from upgrading Vickers K and Wasp from plus 40 to plus 20. I didn't even know there were bonus hit points. Weird. AC now gets Trench Shot from the start, but it only fires one shot that slows the target. So instead of snaring, it slows, and the Veterancy 1 restores the stunning. That's pretty good. I like that change. Gives it a little bit more options when it comes right away. Centaur has been adjusted to be more reliable against garrisons. Really? You want that again? Oh well. All models in a garrison will now take far AoE damage. What? No, don't do that. That is exactly the reason why you had to mega nerf the Centaur. I mean, they took true AoE damage, or not true AoE damage, they took like close AoE damage, so they would just literally be all murdered. But still, taking far AoE damage, all models in a garrison, why? No. Garrison should be good at stalling enemy, like, dedicated anti-infantry. It's the same for the 222, it's the same for the quad, it's the same for, well, not for the American A half-track, no, not for that. It's the same for the Ostwind, though. And it's, I'm pretty sure I believe the same also for the OKW flak half-track, so it's good that those units do what they do, but whatever. Sherman Firefly, to preserve the Firefly's role as a long-range, accurate tank destroyer while making the vehicle less potent and hunting down and killing enemy tanks on the move, the following changes have been made. So this is kind of the reverse of what they did with the Jackson. They've made the Firefly more inflexible, more focused on the defensive, and Tulip Rockets no longer cancels move commands of the vehicle it hits. I didn't even know it did that. That's pretty interesting. Tulip rocket damage against infantry reduced. I don't like that. I mean, it was a nice gimmick that it was there. I don't know, weird. Moving accuracy reduced. That's fine. And the accuracy, yeah, reduced. I mean, as much as I kind of agree that Fireflies might have been a little bit too strong, I think that this nerf is a little bit too much. Like, overall, the Fireflies, like, they're not really the kind of units that break the enemy's ability to just play the game. Because all you need to take out the Firefly is to get one tank behind the Firefly line. Because the Fireflies are very strong, but they're also very inflexible. The turret traversal is abysmal. The reload is abysmal. So if you got something behind them, you could just run around and kill them. Like, it's pretty easy. Their armor is inexistent as well, so no need to nerf them that heavily, in my opinion. Forward assembly. The aura is now being removed to decrease the potency of massed emplacements, while the structure is given ability to provide more reliable healing over infantry sections. Okay, more reliable healing. Okay, so it can be upgraded with medics. Cost reduced. Emplacement garrison aura removed. And advanced fortifications upgrade removed, so it's going to be easier to destroy. Repair station engineers no longer repair the assembly itself. That was pretty funny, and I kind of agree with that change. Gammon Bomb is now more usable overall, which is fine. And they're now more in line with satchel charges. Piats. Given the lack of infantry snares, the Piat is having its range increased to allow it to deter light vehicles. What? It already deters light vehicles. I don't know, that's a change I don't really like. 25-pounder base howitzers. So, they're more effective as a fast response artillery. I'm trying to see why they have reduced the number of shells it fires. Looks like reload is faster. Rotation is faster. Projectile speed is faster. Now, always penetrates. Ha, interesting, interesting. That makes it quite strong against, like, snared vehicles. Well, it depends on whether or not it hits, which is most likely not going to happen. But, you know, it's kind of interesting. 75% damage bonus against team weapons. Okay. Friendly fire increased. Yeah, friendly fire increased, so you need to be more careful. Platoon command howitzer scatter. Wait, what? 0 angle, 5 scatter max. So it always shoots at the direction that you're facing. 5 scatter max, 1 scatter ratio. Okay, so for some reason one of the 2 howitzers will be more accurate and the other one will not. Airburst shells now fire at randomized intervals between 5 and 10 seconds, and they now have a 15 radius scatter. Oh boy, so the airburst shells are an interesting little beast. I like that they have a higher scatter than the normal shells, so they're a little bit less effective at just completely demolishing emplacements. I'm kind of weirded out by that fires at random intervals between 5 and 10 seconds, because it's like, really now you need more RNG in this game? I don't know, it's just kind of strange. British Trench is now neutral when it's abandoned, so it can be captured. Thank Jesus. Thank Jesus. Thank Jesus. That change was a long time coming because that trench was just cancerous. Now there's reason to fight over it. It's like the trench in the first game. Okay, it's very strong. Sure. And, well, if you're not careful with it, the enemy is going to have that strong defensive position. Brace is less rewarding by shortening the duration and limiting the heal and emplacement receives while under these effects. Oh. Well, you know what they should have done? They should have had the option of being able to cut short the brace. I'll explain what I mean. So for right now, brace, the duration is 20 seconds. So you brace it, and for 20 seconds, you're in brace. There's nothing you can do about it. Even if you don't want to be in brace anymore, you're in brace. What they should do is they should have the ability for you to cut short the bracing so that you can repair it. Of course, at the price that you're no longer braced, of course, the cooldown would have to still be the same. Like, for example, I don't remember what the cooldown, I believe it's a minute. But, yeah, you brace for 20 seconds, and then it runs the full duration, and then you have to wait a minute. So, for example, if the change I propose is implemented and you cut the brace at 10 seconds, then you'd have to wait a minute and 10 seconds rather than just a minute. So you'd still have about the same time from the time you click the button to the time you can next click the button, if that makes any sense. So you wouldn't get that buffed. It would still be the same. What would be better is, again, because now Brace effectively is a nerf to repairs as well, you could have that trade-off just so you can repair the building. That's just kind of my idea. Mortar Pit. Too efficient at knocking out large positions, or rather locking large portions of the map compared to the minimal amount of user input required to operate it. I agree. What are you going to do about it? Well, they've reduced the auto-fire range, they've reduced the barrage cooldown. Smoke barrage no longer shares a cooldown with the main barrage. Smoke range increased. Barrage reload. I don't know. I don't know what that is. Barrage aim time from 0.5 to 1 to 1.5. Okay. Garrison bonus changed from reload bonus to minus 25% barrage recharge. Ooh, I like that. Barency 1 reduces the smoke barrage cooldown by 25%. So once again, a buff to barrages while a nerf to autofire. Good. 17 pounder, lower population, thank Jesus. Slightly lower reload, okay. Can no longer garrison troops, okay. Weapon range UI indicator added. Flares moved to Veterancy 1. Piercing rounds now available at Veterancy 0. I mean, it's already pretty good at piercing armor, so I guess that's fine. Churchill Infantry Support Tank. Smoke ability no longer decreases speed. Let's just not even talk about that. That's not a good idea. Bugfish fixes. I like that. I like that. I like that. Sure, I like all of that. And then December hotfix, blah blah blah. Cluster mine cost increased. Bug fixes, bug fixes, bug fixes, bug fixes. So overall, what do I think about the patch? I think it was, well, let's rate it by faction, okay? So the OK, let's very, very quickly go to the Soviets, who are the first ones. Soviets, very good, very good. Just most of the changes I like, even the ones I don't particularly enjoy all that much. For example, the 82mm mortar, the T-34-76, and the Maxim, all have their reasonings, and I can see why they did it, and it's not anything I can't deal with. Wehrmacht, weird teching, very, very weird choices all over for the Wehrmacht. Like the Grenadiers, the tech cost stuff, the Stug buff, the Ostwind buff. All of that is just very, very strange. Some of this I really don't understand. Some of this is good quality of life, such as the bundle grenade stuff, and of course also the Ostwind, like ignoring terrain, and the mortar half-track smoke cooldown. Some of it is good. Some of it is, again, weird. I don't understand why they did it, but it's still pretty good. USF, great, amazing. Pretty much all of them justified, all of them good. Again, this Sherman stuff, not the biggest fan, but I like it. OKW, not as good as the other ones. With some of the things they changed, like for some reason they decided to buff Stern Pioneers, they decided to buff Obersoldaten, and they're doing some weird stuff with the OKW, also with the LAG. So OKW is really the one I like the least for the changes. They've over-nerfed the Stuka. They have, I mean, kind of buffed the Panzer IV. They've kind of nerfed the Panther, and they've kind of nerfed the King Tiger. It's like, okay, sure. British. I feel like the British were in for a bit of a bigger nerf bat on their emplacements. That's just kind of my anti-emplacement stuff. I mean, emplacements are not hard to deal with. They're just really fucking annoying. So I'm just kind of wishing that they're nerfed more, because it's just annoying to deal with. I love the trench change. The infantry section stuff is fine. The Royal Engineer stuff is fine. They've decided to make the Churchill incredibly annoying to deal with right now. And some of these other things are just like, okay, sure, whatever. So overall, good patch, like it. I want to thank y'all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. After talking all this time about the patch, I think I've changed my mind about casting that game I've played. This ran into 1 hour pretty much. So yeah, I guess thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. Stay tuned for the cast, which will come out tomorrow then. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Of course, send me your replays of the patch. I want that.